to a new episode of Learn Italian with Songs. Namely, today we are going to talk about Nero Gotico by Clara. Because, as I have previously mentioned, this week will be dedicated to our dear Clara. Because this way we are going to go from the end of the analysis of Sanremo 2025 songs to the analysis of the songs from Sanremo 2024. As I already explained, I did already some analysis from the bunch of songs from Sanremo 2024, but at this point, as we like to say in Italian, abbiamo fatto 30, facciamo 31. So, today we are going to talk about the second song of the trilogy by Clara, because it was started in Sanremo 2024 with Diamanti Grezzi, we talked about it yesterday, and it ended in Sanremo 2025 with Febbre, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So today we're going to talk about the song in the middle, that also became one of the so-called Tormentoni Estivi 2024 because it was released in 2024. As usual, let's start from the title, Nero Gotico, literally black gothic, gothic black. And just like Diamanti Grezzi, despite being also released as a single, it became part of the of Clara's first album, which is called Primo, first, because it was the first one. Clara, very clean. Now, what do have these three songs, Diamanti Grezzi, Nero Gotico, and Febbre, have together? Well, as I explained yesterday, they all talk about the difficulty of youth, mainly concerning love and relationships. And guess what is the main topic of this song? Yes, you are right, toxic relationships, because exactly what we like. However, in this case, it makes sense because the whole point is that during youth, you have no experience, you have no emotional regulation, you don't know what you like, because it is a moment of transition, a period of transition in your life that will allow to understand who you are, what you like, what you want to do in life, hopefully, and so on and so on and so on. The issue, however, is that not having experience, not knowing yourself, not knowing what you want, what you like, and so on, leads you to be emotionally unstable, also because you have to deal with your hormones stabilizing. Your brain is still forming, your personality, you as a person are still in formation. And of course, these also reflects on relationships. In fact, normally, everyone who had a relationship during teenage years or between their between when they were 15 and 25 years old, chances are we are all the toxic ex of someone else, and probably that someone else was also our toxic ex. Because we are all little bitches while growing, and this is quite physiological, within certain limits, of course. So, we are also more exposed to end up in problematic dynamics, relationship dynamics, and Nero Gotico, just like Diamanti Grezzi, is hinting at that. To be fair, Nero Gotico, however, is quite explicit about it, while Diamanti Grezzi was more focused on youth, things related to youth, love, and relationship, but less on toxic relationship, despite being mentioned. So, specifically, in one of her statements, I'm not quoting exactly the statement, but to give an idea what is the story introducing, conveying the concept, it is as follows. This song is about a meeting at a party between a girl who doesn't believe in love anymore and doesn't trust anyone. Great start. And a guy who seems like the usual man who doesn't want to get attached. So, beautiful. We start with two emotionally unavailable people. A love that they didn't think would be born started also, almost as a game. Okay. So, that said, as usual, we start with the lyrics. Quite in an unusual way, Nero Gotico starts with a variation of the chorus. In fact, to be honest, while being very catchy and a very nice song, I personally got stuck in my head after I had to listen to it to do the analysis. The lyrics are not as meaningful as Diamanti Grezzi. This doesn't mean that they are not worth analyzing. It's just that you will see the chorus is repeated several times, and also the pre-chorus. So the good portion of the song are the repetition of the chorus and the pre-chorus. So, prendo il solito. I take the usual, as in the usual drink, what you usually drink at the bar. Vedo un po' annebbiato. Vedo tutto un po' annebbiato. I see everything a bit blurry, as a consequence of drinking, of course. Nero, gotico, gothic, black. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda. I like it when he looks at me. Supersonico, supersonic. Poi ci mette il carico. Then he adds the load. Pensavo fosse un gioco. I thought it was a game. Forse un amore platonico. Maybe a platonic love. Right away, a note. Here it is not that clear what Clara says, because unlike Diamanti Grezzi, where she released the official lyrics, Nero Gotico doesn't really have these, at least I didn't find it. And here it is not clear if she says forse un amore platonico or fosse un amore platonico, as in pensavo fosse un amore platonico. I thought it was a platonic love. Anyway, the meaning is pretty much the same, so I didn't bother that much. So, we have, as we said, a hopeless girl in the bar. She's ordering the usual drink. Fun fact, in one of the interviews, Clara was asked, what is the usual for you? And she answered the gin lemon. Just trivia. I see everything a bit blurry because, of course, I'm drinking at the bar. Gothic black. Now, I didn't really find any specific explanation concerning the reason of the title. So, exactly what Nero Gotico means in the economy of the song. I guess it was supposed to be so general, too open to interpretations. So, when we think about Gothic, we think about of course, the architecture, but nowadays the modern Gothic concerns the whole part of fashion, for example, but generally something dark, generally associated with creatures like vampires. This is a good interpretation in my humble opinion, because vampires are mentioned, okay, explicitly in the song later on, as as a metaphor to indicate the coldness in the relationship. Coldness that, in my opinion, needs to be taken into consideration because it is also one of the main topics of the last song, Febbre. Indeed, Gasso, indeed. You know, like I was thinking that this song capita proprio a fagiolo. So, could be a reference to this aura of mystery, but also coldness, death. Okay, probably to describe a relationship where there is like no hope for the relationship. So this is my interpretation. Then I like it when he looks at me supersonic. Again, I don't read artists' minds, not yet at least. Maybe one day, I don't know. Surely my job would be really easier. So, what could this mean? It could hint at when in a bar someone catches glimpse of you, like quickly looking at you and then looking somewhere else to not be noticed. Okay, a little bit like looking at someone but without wanting that someone to know. And then she says, then he adds the load, metterci il carico, literally adding the load. I guess it is a reference to an Italian expression which is completely, like in its complete form, metterci il carico da 90. It is a metaphor coming from cards game because mettere il carico da 90 means to add to the hand of cards you are playing the card that has the biggest value. So of course it is the main source of points, we can put it like that. So in this, usually it is used to convey the fact that someone is introducing a heavy topic or adding something very valuable to something else. In this case, since she says, I thought it was a game, maybe, or it was a platonic love, could imply that the guy says that he loves her, okay, or added a certain level of intimacy that was not expected. Blaue, I have to say there is not much to analyze about it, but I could make a short, to be honest. Actually, it is in my ideas, but in this period I lost inspiration to make shorts, sadly. So, I would interpret this part like this. Because she thought it was something light, maybe she was hoping for something more, but she lost hope. So, a bit of this situation. And the guy probably added something important she wasn't expecting, so confessing certain feelings, saying something valuable to the relationship, and so on. And then in the first verse, we have the description of this man, of this guy. Pallido, pale. Un viso poco romantico. A visage not much romantic. Dolce, un po' come l'arsenico. Sweet, a bit like arsenic, which is a poison. strisci le carte di credito, you swipe the credit cards, è un illecito. It's an illicit, as in an action that is not legal. Now, we are in the, how can I say, in the sphere, in the narrative of Gothic, because the description is of someone who is pale, doesn't look very romantic, sweet but like a poison, so dangerous, pain, probably for the girl, and about illicit, I don't know, because again, it could be interpreted in several ways. In Italian, colloquially speaking, when we say oddio è illegale, like oh my god, that's illegal, it can be used also in an ironic way. For example, quest'uomo è illegalmente bello, like this man is so beautiful that that's not legal, okay? So it could be that the way he keeps paying for her seems like not even real, okay? Doesn't even seem legal and whatnot. But it could be also mean that the guy is dealing with something not legal, so adding to his dangerous aura. Then we have a bridge. Con gli occhi su di me, su di me. With your eyes, your implied, because in Italian is not explicit. With your eyes on me, on me. So che a volte fumi. Fumi è. I know that sometimes you smoke, and we don't know what he smokes. Sembra tutto più lento. Everything seems slower. Non volevamo, ma ci siamo dentro, as in the relationship, troppo spesso. We didn't want to, but we are in it too often. Now, again, the description of the guy continues. He looks at her, probably only catching glimpse, as said in the chorus. He smokes. Classic part of the bad, like classic characteristic of the bad boy 101. We don't know if it is cigarettes or other things. Sembra tutto più lento. Again, not sure about what she's talking about specifically. Could be an alteration given by the fact that she's drinking at the club, though. And then, as I explained in the introduction concerning the topic, non volevamo ma ci siamo dentro troppo spesso. We didn't want to, but we are in it too often. Because probably this is hinting at the fact that it was supposed to be a one-night stand, it was supposed to be a game, not something stable, okay? But they ended up seeing each other very often. So it is a situationship, like one might say. And then we have the pre-chorus. Forse una bastarda con lo sguardo quasi spento. Maybe a bastard with an almost dead look. Because the hopeless girl I introduced at the beginning. Forse lui, un ragazzo con il cuore di cemento. Maybe he is a boy, a guy, with a heart of cement. Like concrete. Siamo due vampiri con il sangue troppo freddo. We are two vampires with blood too cold. Ma che cosa vuoi per non pensare? But what do you want to not think? So we have our two protagonists. We have the girl who is hopeless, we have the guy who is heartless, two people very cold because they suffer in their lives and they don't want to think about anything else. So that's why I'm saying the Nero Gotico, Gothic Black, because if you or Black Gothic, if you think about it, describes a bit the whole atmosphere of the song, okay? And then we have the chorus. We go from but what do you want to not think? Answer. Prendo il solito. I take the usual. Vedo tutto un po' annebbiato. I see everything a bit blurry. Nero gotico, gothic black. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda. I like it when he looks at me. Supersonico, supersonic. Poi ci mette il carico. Then he adds the load. Pensavo fosse un gioco. I thought it was a game. Forse un amore platonico. Maybe a platonic love. Ma è solo un gioco erotico. But it's just an erotic game. Sottovoce, quietly, sotto un cielo nero gotico. Under a black gothic sky. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda supersonico, poi ci mette il carico, pensavo fosse un gioco, forse un amore platonico. I like it when he looks at me, supersonic, then he adds the load, I thought it was a game, maybe a platonic love. Ma è solo nero gotico, but it's just black gothic, solo nero gotico, only black gothic. So, despite the good start and the hopes we saw in the previous part of the song, the chorus, however, is quite hopeless. They are drinking, they are exchanging a glimpse of each other, like not stares, but they are looking at each other. At certain point she thinks maybe it could be more because he's adding more, but in the end it's just sex, an erotic game. Sottovoce, which, fun fact, literally in Italian it means quiet, but literally speaking it means down the voice, okay? So like below your voice, as in speaking very quietly. Sotto un cielo nero gotico, under a black gothic sky. Because probably here the female protagonist is like, actually it is just sex kept hidden, like quietly, we don't talk about it, in this gothic, black gothic atmosphere. And then she repeats like the good part, so like I like when he looks at me, I like that he adds the load, that he adds something important to the relationship. I thought it was a game, maybe a bit of a glimpse of hope, maybe platonic love, but no, it's just black gothic. So like it is always that good old coldness and toxic relationships, just like we like them. Then we have the second verse. Sanguino per il tuo fare nostalgico. I bleed for your nostalgic way. Sulle tue spine ci ballerò. On your thorns I'll dance on them. Ed è soltanto il decollo. And it's just the take-off, as in it is just the beginning. Abbiamo perso il controllo, davvero. We've lost the control, really. Guys, today is very hot. I'm daydreaming myself. I need to think. So, again, in the second verse, the toxic relationship is completely coming out, okay? She's bleeding because of him. She's dancing on his thorns. Of course, this is an image that again refers to the pain, of course. And all this pain, it is just the beginning of everything that is between us. Because we lost the control of our relationship. Then we have once again the pre-chorus. Forse una bastarda con lo sguardo quasi spento, forse lui un ragazzo con il cuore di cemento. Siamo due vampiri con il sangue troppo freddo, ma che cosa vuoi per non pensare? Maybe a bastard with an almost dead look. For maybe he a boy with a guy with a heart of concrete. We are two vampires with blood too cold, but what do you want to not think? Prendo il solito, vedo tutto un po' annebbiato, nero gotico. I take the usual, I see everything a bit blurry, gothic black. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda supersonico, poi ci mette il carico, pensavo fosse un gioco, forse un amore platonico. I like it when he looks at me supersonic, then he adds the load. I thought it was a game, maybe a platonic love. Ma è solo un gioco erotico, sottovoce, sotto un cielo nero gotico. But it's just an erotic game, quietly, under a black gothic sky. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda, supersonico, poi ci mette il carico, pensavo fosse un gioco, forse un amore platonico. I like it when he looks at me, supersonic, then he adds the load. I thought it was a game, maybe a platonic love. And this time we don't have the two last lines that we had in the first whole chorus, which are these two. And then we have the bridge. Mentre brucio dentro, dico tutto ciò che penso. While I burn inside, I say everything I think. Anche tu bastardo con il cuore di cemento. You too bastard with the heart of concrete. E dopo mi agito, and then I get agitated. Il cielo è malinconico. The sky is melancholic. Tutto nero gotico. All black gothic. So, here again, we have again the confirmation that the relationship is not going good at all. She's burning, she's saying everything she thinks. Maybe you remember from Diamanti Grezzi that we already talked about this problem of not being able to regulate ourselves and not being able to communicate properly. And in fact, she gets agitated. The sky is melancholic because, of course, we have several times the atmosphere, probably of the relationship, described as the sky. And everything is just black gothic or gothic black. And then the song ends with one last chorus. Prendo il solito, vedo tutto un po' annebbiato, nero gotico. I take the usual, I see everything a bit blurry, gothic black. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda supersonico, poi ci mette il carico, pensavo fosse un gioco, forse un amore platonico. I like it when he looks at me supersonic, then he adds the load. I thought it was a game, maybe a platonic love. Ma è solo un gioco erotico, sottovoce, sotto un cielo nero gotico. But it's just an erotic game, a quiet one, an unspoken one, under a gothic black sky. Mi piace quando lui mi guarda, supersonico, poi ci mette il carico, pensavo fosse un gioco, forse un amore platonico. I like it when he looks at me, supersonic, then he adds the load. I thought it was a game, maybe a platonic love. And then the last two lines come back, ma è solo nero gotico, but it's just gothic black. Solo nero gotico, only gothic black. Now, that was the lyrics of Nero Gotico, and probably the part of the chorus that we find several times in the song. So the one where she says mi piace quando lui mi guarda supersonico, poi ci mette il carico, pensavo fosse un gioco, forse un amore platonico. I like it when he looks at me supersonic, then he adds the load. I thought it was a game, maybe a platonic love. I think this part keeps coming back, alternated with the description of the bad part of the relationship, or the situationship in this case, because I think it mimics the vicious cycle of toxic relationships. Because it doesn't start in the better of the ways, but then you have a glimpse of hope, you have something, you receive something to staying there, okay? But then there is always, we always come back to this section in the song, because in the end we always end up in the gothic black. So in the moments of the relationship where we have the most difficulties, or generally when we realize that anyway we are not going anywhere, because doesn't matter, we the story concerns two people that are emotionally unavailable. So what happens is that it doesn't matter how much we keep getting these little glimpses of hope concerning the situationship, which is, in my opinion, represented by these 5 verses mainly. But in the end, we always end up in the toxic relationship that might be represented by the gothic black. And in fact, how do we know that there is no good ending to this story? Because the song ends with the last two lines, which are my solo nero gotico, but it's just gothic black, only gothic black. So, now, I keep drinking because, guys, otherwise I'm going to melt. I would like to tell you, now we talk about the gossip part. But the problem is that there is not much gossip. Like, Clara is very methodic. She does her job. She takes out the songs. Okay, she releases the songs, and she keeps working, and that's okay. The only thing that I can mention is that Nero Gotico, the video clip of Nero Gotico was made was recorded in an excavation site. So like where when you go and excavate to get rocks that you need for several reasons. Apparently it was a big dream of Clara to make a video clip in such an environment, so she was very happy about mm, the video clip. Okay. Of course, apparently Clara ha una passione per le cave. I don't know why, but in fact, like, she also had the machinery in the video that are used to excavate. So, I mean, she happy, and we are happy for her. The other little thing that I can think of, but is literally like a small thing, is that we can all agree concerning the fact that Clara is a beautiful woman. And in the Nero Gotico video clip, she is dancing in a very sexy way. She's presenting herself in a very sexy way. And there are many people, but this happen also with Diamanti Grezzi and Febre and whatnot. There are many people, also journalists, commenting first on her physical appearance and then concerning the song, or just talking about her physical appearance and then ignoring the fact that she's actually a singer. Now, Clara is an actress. Clara probably is also, or was also, a model. I think she still is a model. And of course, she presents herself in an appealing way. Like, she is very polished, of course. In one of the interviews, she was asked. There are several people who describe you as beautiful, very beautiful. What do you think about it? Does it bother you? And she gave a very smart answer, in my opinion, because she said something like, "I will never be mad about a compliment." Because it is good for your self-esteem. However, if someone cannot go beyond that and see that I am more than beautiful, but also good at my job, I'm sorry for them, because they clearly cannot go beyond. But it's their problem. And I have to say, Queen statement, of course. It is, jokes aside, it is a very good point. So, my humble opinion, she's right. But they said, like, there is not much to say about the song, because more or less, yeah, indeed, 100% Slade. Slaying score 100. But like, of course, she's at the beginning of her career, so we can't really pretend big things. But also, I notice in many of her interviews that she's not impulsive. When she's asked also difficult questions, I've seen her saying something, "I don't know because I don't know the person. I don't know because I don't know well the situation." Some like to call this behavior like not exposing yourself, but in my opinion, considering that nowadays everyone speaks about everything, just being intellectually honest and saying, I don't know what to tell you about this because I don't know the situation, I don't know the people involved and whatnot. It is the best choice. I understand the artists who are more active, mainly concerning certain social battles and whatnot. But I also understand the artists who are like, I do music, I don't do political music, so I'm not that informed. So besides saying the easy things, like the obvious things, like yes, I agree with giving rights to people, I am against discriminations and whatnot. If you present me gossip matters, things happening nowadays, discussion and whatnot, more than telling you the general vision concerning it, or just telling you that I don't know about it, it is a very understandable choice. Because, for example, when she released Nero Gotico, in one of the interviews, someone asked her about the drama between Fedez and Tony F. Because while she, in the same period she released Nero Gotico, we were in the peak moment of the dissing, among many quotes mark. And she said, I don't know because I don't know the people. And they said, oh, but because they are shit talking women. Because it's true. In this very cheap and ridiculous dissing of summer 2024, Tony F and Fedez, instead of dissing each other, basically kept bringing into the discussion women of each other lives, so ex girlfriends, ex wives, and whatnot. And of course, many people got a bit pissed because they were like, guys, if you want to insult each other, if you want to insult each other and like do the dissing within yourselves, good for you. Why do you have to bring in people who are not involved directly? Because at certain point the dissing became, your wife is a whore, no, your wife is a whore, no, your girlfriend is a whore, and so on and so on. And of course many singers, may also female singers, were like, bro, like what the heck is this cheap ass dissing? Like, why aren't you dissing between you two? Why do you have to drag in and insult your partners or each other partners? Okay, this is ridiculous. So she was asked, since the period was the same, what she was thinking about it, and she said, I don't know the people, I don't really know exactly the situation. What I can tell you is that this is just the point, the tip of the iceberg, because the problem is deeper. The issue is that why they think it's okay to do that. Because what we see in music, it is just the mirror or of what happened in the society. So if they think it's okay to insult each other partners and to bring them into the discussion just to insult them, and they think that's okay, probably we should ask ourselves why they think it's okay. Because if they think it's okay, it means that it is socially accepted. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, because they wouldn't even think about it. And it was a very good point. But again, specifically concerning her gossip and her drama, nothing much. She's doing her honest job, and that's pretty much it. So, that said, let me know in the comments what you think about the song Nero Gotico by Clara. Tomorrow we are going finally to finish the bunch of songs from Sanremo 2025, and also we are going to finish this trilogy of songs by Clara. That said, I hope you enjoyed this live. Grazie everyone for watching, and arrivederci.